Hello and welcome to Chaotic Riff Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.chaoticriff.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and I'm honored and very happy to be speaking with Etched and Embers lead singer, Russel Rhodenizer. And how you doing today, Russ?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here, man. Appreciate you having me.
And so I know very little bit about the band, so could you share with us how long you guys have been together as a band?
Absolutely. I consider the start date of Etched and Embers to be officially January of 2020, when we first hit the studio for our first single. Band formed in mid-2019 with a little different lineup, doing kind of a test run. And we actually started with the lead guitar player, Tyler Kenyon. He was on drums, and we had two different members that we had parted ways with November of 2019. And then had a lineup change into that January 2020 studio session. And the lineup's changed once in between there. We mid-2021, we changed bass player and drummer. So that's the current lineup. That will be what I consider the forever lineup of Etched and Embers. So we're a fairly new band. And
so is this a band that you formed, or was it an existing band?
It was a band I formed. I've been in different projects through the years. I've always been a songwriter, and it's always tough finding the right guys and the right chemistry and the right catalyst to make things happen. And I really kind of put a finalization saying this is going to be the project that I push to the limits, and everything else was kind of test runs for this. But it's a band I put together to get music I had written over the years out, and of course we as a band write, and Tyler writes, the lead guitar player. So it's kind of evolved from what I started it as, into something great.
And so the guys that are in the band now, are those guys you knew from the local music scene where you're from, or how did you find the other guys?
Tyler and I were in a previous project together in 2015, 2015. So we were doing some writing then. So actually some songs we're going to be recording were written as back then at that time frame. So I've known Tyler a long time. Christian is a new ad. He came in June of 2021, and he's out of Des Moines, Iowa. So we kind of searched nationwide for somebody there and auditioned people coming in, and he was the one that we went with. And then, believe it or not, Chance is my son.
Wow, I love that. Chance, that's a cool name. I mean, it's such a cool name, for so many reasons, but kind of unique. And what's it like working with your son?
It's been it wasn't planned that way. He's a musician. He has his own solo project that he does as well. And when we were hunting for bass players, we had some good people hit us up and some auditions from around the country. And we were getting down to the wire. Some people could not make their audition slots. We had a video shoot scheduled for Bring Me Back. So we kind of said, well, let's just roll with this. So we thought maybe it'd be a temporary deal, and it ended up working out so well that we've just kept it as the solid lineup. And
that's great.
It's still a little bit surreal to me.
We're
in the middle of a show, and I look over and my kid's playing bass. So it's awesome though.
Well, I guess Mom doesn't have to worry about him being on the road because he's with his dad, huh?
No, not at all. He's a former Marine, so he's pretty straight and narrow anyway. Yeah. He helps keep everybody in check.
And how cool is that? And so you and the guitar player, you said you knew each other from before. So I don't know if it's fair to say you guys are a core of a band, but it must be kind of cool to, especially now that I hear that your son's in the band too. But kind of you and your buddy kind of. We're together since, for many, many years. So you got somebody that you can kind of lean on and that you really already could kind of trust, and you knew what he was capable of.
Yeah, we definitely, that comfort level was definitely there. He's an incredible drummer, so I brought him in because I had a lead guitar player at the time and the bass player, and he was involved in a different project too, so it was just kind of a fill-in spot, more or less. And, we decided, I always wanted him on lead guitar. I'd actually hunted Tyler out years and years and years ago at a Making the Band competition that I was a judge at.
Oh, wow.
So it was something that I knew what I needed for the projects I was in or looking to form. And he was one of the guys that I had always had heard about on the local level, and when I went out and seen him, was quite impressed impressed with his ability, and he's really an all-around great musician. So, but it is something that, we always tell each other, we don't have to worry about each other. We know we got ourselves in check, and that's nice, because when you got 4 or 5 guys involved in a project, and you're out playing stages, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress.
I bet.
And we want to know that everybody can handle that well enough. So.
And a great amount of that stress or that pressure has got to be on you, because not only are you the front man, the lead singer, like you said, you're a songwriter, you also play guitar, and a lot of guys have told me that's an extremely hard thing to do, is be the front man, play the guitar, because not only do you got to kind of communicate with the audience, but you got to remember the words to the songs, you got to remember all your guitar parts. Is that something took a while for you to kind of get to the point where you feel that you kind of mastered?
It is definitely something that I wasn't born to do, I should say. I was I picked up the guitar at the age of about 11 or 12.
Oh, wow.
And played for quite some time, just fiddling around, not really with anything in mind, and really didn't hit the ground firmly until when I was about 14, 15 years old. But I had always hunted singers out from around the area, and we had them coming from 2-3 hours away, and it was just inconvenient. Yeah. So I slowly in practice started singing. I had a 3-piece group called Mind Riot, which was a toss out to Chris Cornell and Soundgarden. We were huge fans. Wow. So that band was named after a song from the Bad Butterfinger album. I just kind of got thrown into the singing role from that guitar position, because we rehearsed so much just as a 3-piece with me singing those parts, that we eventually just went out on the road as a 3-piece, and I was singing. So it was something I learned to do, and it was I wasn't sure I was good at either one, but it grew into something that I was pretty comfortable with. It
seems to be working. Now let me ask you, it sounds like a lot of people, maybe you start out as a guitar player first, and you've kind of explained how you kind of morphed into being the front man and the singer, but was it also a little bit of other people, once they start hearing you sing, maybe people behind the scenes or just people in your inner circle start talking, hey Russ, you're a pretty decent singer, you should just sing it yourself?
Well, that's kind of how it happened. It was actually my drummer at the time booked a battle of the bands, and I was like, who's singing? He goes, you are.
Wow.
Okay. I was like, okay. So we went out and did that, and it was a good turning point for us. And it really, we actually, that night at that show, and this was many, many years ago, we had a guy come up. They knew we were looking for a singer and audition for he wanted to audition for the singing part. And when he came over, he sat behind the drums, and I was like, you're an incredible drummer. So we ended up replacing the drummer at the time. It was just crazy. I mean, music is a crazy ride sometimes, but so he ended up behind the drums, and then we continued on that way. But now they definitely helped give me confidence, because I think any singer would be lying if they said that they didn't have some type of self-confidence issues, self-esteem issues, because your health is a lot of part of how you perform each night, so you have to really take care of yourself.
Well, especially when you're not a natural born singer, in the sense that it's something you've been doing all your life. You kind of just somebody asked you to do it, and you say, okay, you took it on, and that's even a more of a challenge, I think. You know what I mean? And it's kind of interesting, because I would think too, doing that, when you're first starting out on the guitar, probably like a lot of people, you're a guitar player, so you're just paying attention to the guitar parts. I'd imagine, once you start singing, it makes you maybe also a better writer, because now you're also a guy writing the lyrics, and you got to really think about what you're writing in addition to the guitar parts.
It definitely alters and has an effect, and the bulk of what I've written in my lifetime, and we're talking 100 plus songs, are always based around me having that guitar in my hand.
Oh, sure.
But it definitely opens up a different avenue of writing when I don't have the guitar in my hand. And if you come out and sing, because I was a front man in a band for different bands, with no guitar, and just was the lead vocalist. but writing from a perspective where, say Tyler writes the music, it kind of lets me get out from underneath that, where I can have a little different styling and a little more open approach to the vocals and lyrics. So I like that, and even if you come see us live, you'll see me put the guitar down from time to time and just sing. So
well, that's very interesting. And now, being that you mentioned your son's in the band, I was kind of curious. How big of an influence would you say you being a musician was on him wanting to become one?
As far as my son?
Yeah, I mean, like, did he see what you did and kind of say, Dad, I'd love to do that one day, or teach me how to play the guitar?
Well, I think that just his love for music was a huge part of that. Yeah. And obviously he had access to things in the home, whether it be guitar and drums. And he got a drum set for Christmas, and he still plays drums. But he's a guitar player more than anything else. Yeah. But he stepped right into the bass role in Etched and Embers. So I would say that it my influence was definitely all there was to it, because he went off, in the
his own thing,
and found his own way. So, but when he came back to the local area where we're from, that's when he really got a little more active in that and started with his little solo project and such. And but I hope that I had a positive influence, because he would come out and even work the door for us at some shows.
Wow.
When he was younger. So he was exposed to that, and it was odd because it kind of came full circle, because we played with 10 Years last week, and the first concert I ever took him to was a festival show with Seven Dust, 1,000 Foot Crutch, 10 Years was on it, Chevelle was on it. So his first concert, was a band that he just played with last week. So
that's amazing. It's almost like, I'm sure it's kind of like, Eric Singer from Kiss. He grew up as a Kiss fan. I've heard him talk about over the years, and then he's literally kind of jumped up on stage and has become a member of the band. It's unique when you kind of have stories like that.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool aspect of it. And we weren't sure how to handle it, because a lot of people thought we were brothers for the longest time.
Yeah, because you look so much alike, I bet. Yeah, wow. And then there's that. And then as far as your influences, who are the, guitar players, singers, or just the bands in general that influenced you when you were growing up?
Well, and it probably doesn't show so much in the music that you hear, because I grew up not necessarily a different era. I'm not a youngster by any means, but my biggest influence in music in general was probably Rush.
Oh, okay, that's not surprised.
I was a huge Rush fan, and especially when the grunge era came in, I really took to all that too. As I said, one of my first bands was titled after a Soundgarden song. Wow. When I was young, we pretty much covered almost the entire Facelift album from Alice in Chains.
Oh, great album.
Huge influences there. And I've got some solo acoustic stuff out there that I've covered some of those things that I grew up listening to.
Well, Alice in Chains I could see, because, even though people consider them grunge, to me, they've always kind of had a Sabbathy vibe to what they do. And I think that has a lot to do with Jerry Cantrell's playing and his, songwriting. So I could see that. And Rush, unless you're really a diehard Rush fan, you might not know that, most people might think Geddy Lee's the guy who wrote all the songs. No, the new guy in the band, the drummer, Neil Peart, who was a new guy for 40 years before he died, he wrote most of the lyrics,
Yeah, and that's, you're right, a lot of people didn't know that. And I dove deep into the Rush lore years and years and years ago. Had access to a show they did for radio. It was like a 3 or 4 hour long show. Wow. So we got the actual vinyl to that one, and it told so much of their history and also the discography up to that point. Of course, that was long before like moving pictures came out and such. But it was. I just appreciated their musicianship, and I was always enthralled by Geddy Lee's ability to play and sing what he did. Much like Les Claypool, Primus, just totally impressed, But I grew up in that, that 80s, late 80s to 90s vibe, and I was listening to bands like Accept, and I was a huge Dio fan. It's just a wide range.
I can understand that. Even myself, as a music fan, I listen typically to hard rock and metal stuff, but I'll tell you, from time to time, just throughout my life, I also listen to everything from, Kiss and Aerosmith, Tom Petty, the Eagles, and I mentioned like the Eagles and Tom Petty. You know why? great songwriters, great songs. Those are songs still be playing on the radio, 40 years later.
Absolutely. And I was in a cover project for a period of time back in the late 90s to early 2000s that we had a 500 song block that a book of songs that we could do.
Oh, wow.
That ranged from anything like Billy Joel to Tom Petty, like you said, up to Pantera and Rage Against the Machine, stuff on the heavier side.
Yeah.
And even in some of those projects, we were doing stuff like Mudvayne. So it just was a wide range.
Oh, that's cool too.
I don't know if any of that shows in my songwriting, but I know there's little bits and pieces in there from all.
But that's interesting because I find the more guys that have that kind of story, like real diverse influences, not only are they better musicians, but they're better better songwriters because you listen to more of a wide range of things. I mean, I heard James Lomenzo. He's a current bass player in Megadeth, but he's also done for a while he was touring with John Fogerty from Creedence Clearwater Revival, and people have asked him, "Hey, you're a metal guy. What are you doing playing in John Fogerty's band?" And his response was, "Well, you know what? It's they're great songs. It's a great catalog of music. It's a great gig. It's a great paying gig. So why not?"
Yeah. Don't pigeonhole yourself into one area. And I think that some of the best musicians are those that are comfortable doing just about anything. And it really shows in their stage presence and their musicianship. So.
And Russ, another thing I got to ask you is, I love to ask people, okay, because in your case, Etched and Embers, that's just such a great band name. Nobody's going to confuse it with any other band. Great original name. I know that's one of the hardest things to do. So how did you come up with that?
There really wasn't any formula for it. I had a sheet. Matter of fact, I had a sheet from whenever Tyler and I had previously formed the project. It was a previous project that I came in on, and we felt that it was different enough that we renamed it. So I had started writing band names down. Of course, if you're a musician, you jot
do
band
that,
names all the time.
Yeah.
I was in a studio back in 2008 into 2009 with an engineer that had a sheet alongside his production desk, and he would write down band names nonstop. If we said something that caught his ear during the day, he would write it down for a possible band name. So he had a lot of those written down too. But when I started writing those, I kept that same sheet from the previous project that band was all driven down, and I added to it. And then I just started reading it off at practice at rehearsal one day, and Etched and Embers was the one that stuck. We did a quick Google search. There were no bands named that. There was an art company, a gal that does some pyrography or whatever it is, some type of art, and there was no trademark to the name. So we even talked with her. That way we wouldn't cross over in the Facebook realm. Website realm to make sure it wasn't gonna, and actually we've kind of helped each other too. So she'll get tagged in things sometimes, and we'll get tagged in her things. But because
that's the thing too. I've heard some real crazy names. This one band I've interviewed a couple times. It's a tribute project, and what they do is they get together, and it's all started basically because of COVID, and they record some fun cover tunes, everything from like Simple Minds to Black Sabbath, Styx songs, Kiss songs, Van Halen, everything, and they named their band Farmer Bob. And the funny thing about that is, when you do a search for Farmer Bob, just for example, to make my point here, you wouldn't believe all the different things besides the band that just come up in the search. It's funny. So you got to really think, when you're thinking of a band name. First of all, does anybody else have that name, and what else is going to come up when people search that name? But it's just fun stuff. And I got to ask you now a little bit about, like I said, your current single. The video is for the song "Fear." When I listen to that track, like I said, I know very little about the band, and that's honestly the only track I've heard from you guys. So I got to go and listen to some of your other stuff. But listening to the one track, I bring this up because great metal track, but it was such a great track to my ears that just hearing the one song, I was left thinking, boy, this is a great metal band. I want to hear more from these guys. So let's talk about that track specifically and what it's about.
Okay. It's a new song, and when I say that, it's not one of the ones that's been in my repertoire catalog for years. You know, like I said, I've written songs and I did acoustic. I did a lot of acoustic shows and performed some of these early Etched and Embers songs. So some of these have been around for a while and might have a little different feel to them.
Sure.
You know, in the early stuff, we sent out a package to a lot of producers and such, and you know, the ones they picked were a little more radio friendly. But I consider us a little heavier of a band. Fear came about pretty quickly because in March of 2021, the lead guitar player and I went out to Wichita, Kansas, to the studio with Chris Dawson, and we tracked a song called "Bring Me Back." And that was a rework of an original solo tune that I had done years prior. So we dropped the tuning to G sharp, dropped G sharp tuning. Well, we had no other songs in drop G sharp. So I was kind of pushing to write something in that, so we would have a few songs in that tuning. Fear was one I had just tracked the parts on my cell phone and kind of set aside. And then I'll go back and I'll have listening sessions, and I had it listed in there as Fear Part 1, you know, and then Fear Verse, and I'm like, wait, there's a whole song here. So I demoed it for the guys. It was, you know, similar to what we ended up releasing, very close. We did add an additional verse parts and kind of clean up the chorus and made it a little more powerful. But it you know, it was one of those I consider that was written pretty quickly. When we got out to the studio, we actually weren't sure what we were going to record. We had, you know, we were listening to 4 or 5 different tunes, and that one we felt was a strong one. The song itself is, you know, timing wise, it kind of, as far as the lyrics, it really relates to kind of the whole country and us coming out of an era of everybody being terrified of what was next. And you know, and so a lot of people are still afraid to come out of that bubble that we've been in, and you know, we drive around Missouri, and although we have no mandates or anything like that, you'll see people walking down the streets in Columbia wearing masks.
Same here in California.
So they're just still a little terrified. So it speaks to some of that, and also on the flip side of it is also that, you know, we as you know, commoners and normal people out here outside of the political realm, we sometimes feel that we're governed a little bit with fear tactics. And you know, the more they can keep us scared, the easier it will be to get us to fall into line. And so there is some of that in there as well, as in the video, as well as in the video too. And we didn't choose the imagery or the screenshots in the TVs, but it speaks pretty well to what we meant, and the producer did a good job of picking that out for us.
That's pretty cool, because the video does look pretty cool and professional, like something you'd see on MTV, you know, back in the day. So what's been the response to the video so far?
It's been good. You know, it's we weren't sure. You know, some of these things you put out there that have any type of spin. We put out one in 2020 that used, you know, we did under the Fair Use Act, where we could use TV news images. So, you know, we pulled from all of the, not just in the United States, but across the world, these images of news programs, and put that together in a video for a song called Had Enough, and it got flagged. They would not allow us to post it. That
is amazing. You know, I mean, I have a friend that's in a band, and he just had a gig the other day, and he was telling me that, you know, and he's not even that political. Just he's in a band trying to advertise his band, and they won't let him do so. I guess Facebook wants, if you're gonna put an ad up, you know, advertising a show or something, that Facebook wants to get some money or something for it, and so they try to ban it.
It's moved that way, and I actually in that fight for Had Enough, that single there, and that video, I had to get verified long before Facebook started doing the two-step verification and any page verification. I had to get verified as a legal entity to be able to post and push those videos. They did come around, and they did approve me for that, but that, when we pushed the ad for that particular song, we had to do it as political content.
Oh, you know, it's amazing, because Facebook is just one example of this, but you know, as great of a tool as it can be, you know, to promoting bands or whatever it is that you do, you know, it's silly too. Like, I got a lot of bands that I've interviewed and stuff, or that I have contacts of different people, and I'll try to just simply like a page, like a band's page or something, and I'll get a message. You already like over 5,000, over 5,000 friends. Lose some friends, and then you can like this page. And then sometimes it does that. Sometimes it allows me to like it. It just kind of, I guess, depends on the day.
Yeah.
And
we see that inconsistencies a lot.
Yeah.
I think that there's been some changes here recently that have helped bands and pages like ours in the way that we can move fluently back from profile to band page and such.
Yeah.
But it's just like the flip of a switch. They could shut us down, and we're grateful for the platform. Absolutely.
Sure.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But there's so many sticky areas of it that become more difficult for us to manage. And if you pay for ads on Facebook, which we do, then it affects your algorithmic reach. And you just don't, and we found recently, if we post anything that directs off of Facebook, so if it's a YouTube link or Spotify link, they will not let people see that, even in a paid scenario. A lot of times, if it's a Facebook direct post or a share of something, then that gets more exposure.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too, because I have one of my interviews I posted from a band nobody's ever heard of, a band's really fairly new, and that interview got 15K hits, and then an interview I did with Carmine P only got 16 views, and it's like, what is up with that? So it's just crazy stuff like that. You never know how they're gonna promote the stuff.
No, and we're powerless a lot of times to affect change in it. I said I think some of the recent changes in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks have been moving in the right direction for us as an entertainer or a music site or band site. But we're still learning and figuring it out. And I think they're rewarding activity too.
Yeah.
So if a band doesn't post a whole lot, their reach is going to be limited more. Not that it hasn't been in the past anyway, but we found that the more we interact, especially on other, now we can go around as Etched and Embers and comment and like things and join pages as our band, and it really helps us get exposure that way and continue that steady growth. So
that's kind of interesting.
It's a learning process.
It's kind of interesting because I see stuff that I post, and I try to do it as often as possible, almost daily. And some of the stuff I post, it seems like the more popular it gets, the more they want to pull it back, or the more they want to shut you down. I haven't been banned or anything. And then also you got to be careful, like you say, what you post. I mean, if you say certain people, like if you say Joe Biden is a jerk, they might they might ban you. But at the same time, if you say Donald Trump's a jerk, then that's all right.
Well, there's definitely a fine line, and we walk that line because we know we're in the public eye, and we're really here for everybody.
For music,
When we write a song that somebody might feel is political in any way, we're not writing it from one side or the other. We're writing it from the human race in general.
That's what I dig. That's what I dig. Yeah.
We're all on the same page, and really, we're not that different. It's the division being driven between us that over some of the silliest of things, really, in some aspects. But it's just a voice for all of us. And I could write a song, and 10 different people are all going to hear their own different version of that for what they pull from the lyrics.
But at the same time,
what I want to do, I just want people screaming them back at us at shows. So.
But at the same time, there's a certain beauty in that, because I'd imagine as a songwriter, you know exactly what you write your songs about. But you probably have fans come up to you all the time telling you, "Hey Russ, I heard this song you guys did, and that just really touched my heart. It meant something to me." They probably even tell you what it meant to them, and you're thinking, "That's not what I wrote about." But you know what? If you got that out of it, great. It's all about interpretation.
And sometimes that's eye-opening. The way you phrase things and the lyrics you write, it's sometimes eye-opening that it can be perceived in different ways, and sometimes people do open your eyes to the perception of that. And I'm thankful for that, because when you write as many songs as I have, you start running out of things, or you keep saying the same things over and over, it seems like. So I have to be careful, and I'll readdress previous songs and just kind of dig back in and make sure that I'm not using the same phrase overly or something like that, or saying something in a different way that might have the same meaning. But back to the whole and choosing things and how the censorship. I really feel bad for comedians.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, one thing I hate is I don't really tune in anymore to, late night comedy shows because, I mean, even like Saturday Night Live every once in a while, but they're not even funny anymore. It's the same joke. It's all about politics. I mean, when I tune into something, like I remember watching Johnny Carson back in the day, or Jay Leno host the Tonight Show, and not only did they have great guests, but it wasn't political all the time. They'd actually make it was all right to make people laugh. And my God, like you're right. You're so right. Being a comedian today, I mean, if somebody tells a political joke and the mass majority doesn't agree with what they're saying, oh my God, they want to cancel you.
It's a culture that has gotten out of hand for sure. And I mean, to just give you perspective, the last comedian I've seen live, and just to tell you, it's been a little while back, was George Carlin in Las Vegas.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it's, but I mean, I grew up on Richard Pryor. I grew up on a lot of the earlier comedians, Eddie Murphy and guys like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's just, and then into the more modern era of comedians, I just want to hear funny stuff about normal life.
and then,
every bit of us has comedy in our life. Inadvertently, maybe it's just about the BS we deal with.
Oh,
but
sure.
My God, there's a lot of humor in it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, and and just like when you write a song, these comedians they draw from everyday life or stories they hear on the news and things that are going on in the world. That's kind of how they create their show, and even something as simple as going to a comedy show like David Chappelle. Somebody trying to stab him while he's up on stage because they don't like the joke.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't like it, leave a show. Don't go to the show. Don't buy the ticket. Don't try to stop other people from having a good time. That's my thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want everybody to live their lives as they see fit, and I consider myself way ahead of the curve in a lot of that because I grew up in a family that we had some unique individuals and things. I won't really go any more detail into that, but I'm accepting of all, but what I get so frustrated is that if you don't think like I think, then we can't be friends, and I just don't see that.
I'm so with you, Russ. I mean, you're saying earlier in the interview something to the effect that about the state of the world, and we're talking about fear and what you wrote the song about. And I think maybe why the song is so popular, people can relate to something like that, is because the last 2 or 3 years that has kind of been the state of the world, and people, I mean, for the first time in our lives, we were told you had to stay in your house, that you had to lock yourself up, you couldn't even go to work, you couldn't even, I mean, it was like 3 or 4 months before I was even, they started letting us come back to work or anything. And, the only place you could really go was, the supermarket. Couldn't even go see a movie. They locked down all the movie theaters. Couldn't go see any live concerts. Like, man, I never thought the government would be able to control you like that. And that's part of the reason I think people would react to a song like that, because we've all lived through it.
Yeah, and some people, they enjoyed portions of that because it was, it took a little bit of responsibility off us, I think, and I think that some of that, I have kids that are in school, and I can see a drastic change in them.
Oh, sure.
Not for the better, because of the the online learning and things like that, and it's definitely affected my kids. So it's a scary situation. And we live kind of in a bubble here in Lake of the Ozarks area because we didn't really shut down. It was a tourism area. They had the biggest year they've ever had when things shut down because people came here because we stayed open for the most part. Wow. So it was shocking to hear stories from our friends and families out, in the cities and different areas on the East Coast, the West Coast, and especially get out playing music, and thank God it returned because we were, this project started up and then 3 months later the world shuts down.
Oh, sure. I mean, and you
absolutely terrified of the investment in time and money that we made into this, and then being told we couldn't play shows.
Yeah, I mean, I heard just on the news today, in China, they're still locking people down, and they heard this one guy that worked at the local IKEA furniture store tested positive for COVID. They were trying to lock everybody in the store, not let them come out, but people forced their way out. I mean, that's what the world is coming to. And I have a funny story that when everything was locked down. I remember when everything started to start open up again, like just going down to the local bank and making a deposit, and this old lady is in the line before me, and she goes up to the security guard in the bank and wants him to know, I just want you to know I'm a good person. I'm wearing my mask. Oh, okay, ma'am, that's nice. and doing interviews and things like that surrounding music, we write. Yeah. At some point, and we have to talk about it, obviously, because it has been such a huge part of our life, and it was unprecedented what we went through. But, I just wonder, when is the time that we won't talk about it anymore? It's like, but I think it's affected us and changed us that much that it is warranted for discussion. It's something that's going to keep being talked about because we were so greatly affected by it. I mean, like you said, fear is a great thing to talk about because, that's a great premise for that song in the video because, even today, like I walk around and I don't wear a mask when I'm at my own house. I mean, I still have to kind of at work, they make us, but okay, so when I'm at work, I'll wear it. But when I'm out walking around my community, I don't wear a mask. I have a friend that he has 3 masks on and he's afraid to take it off because of everything he's heard on TV. And then you got people telling you, oh my God, if you're not wearing a mask, you're a murderer. You're going to kill people. Yeah. Excuse me? No.
Yeah. Well, and I've got a whole different outlook on it too, because in January of 2021, my mom had a stroke.
Oh, wow.
And she was in Phoenix, Arizona, and we couldn't see her.
Wow. Yeah, I hear you.
It was absolutely just heartbreaking because there was nothing, and I think that, yes, we were cautious and concerned about her exposure, but we knew that part of healing was family and human touch.
Oh, sure.
Like that. And for 3 months, nobody could see her. And we fought with them. And then when I basically broke her out of a facility in Arizona and got her back to Missouri. And they just didn't care about her.
No.
It was just heartbreaking. So, I was angry at the system.
Oh, sure.
And here she, for 2 years, or damn near, I guess a year and a half or whatever, she did all her normal things, went to bingo and things like that, and she ended up contracting COVID in the facility she was in. Oh, sure.
And see, that's the thing. I'm vaccinated. I still got COVID, had it twice, but, I'm fine. I don't have any serious health issues, but see, that's the thing, they lie to you too. They tell you, well, okay, if you get the vaccine, you'll be fine. You're not going to, well, we know that's not true. And so I think that's the other thing. Got to be cautious and got to be careful, but, telling people you're going to murder people when, well, like even the current president, he got it twice, he supposedly wears a mask, okay, and he still got it. Yeah.
Well, it's just, we'll never know. And, part of the tune fear kind of relates to that in the fact that, there's so much misinformation and diversions out there that the truth's never really going to be found about all of this.
Oh, yeah, because the truth, even if you listen, the truth is what they tell you it is. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but for a while I was hearing stuff about like the president of the White House. They want to have a ministry of truth. They want to tell you what the truth is. And you better not dare question them, and that's a thing, Russ.
That's a scary scenario.
Yeah, as I sit here and talk to you, I don't even care what your political views are. You don't need to know mine. It doesn't really matter. I'm talking to you about being in your band, your new single and video, and some of the bands that influenced you and all that. And that's what we're talking about. And I don't need to know what your political views are. And even if I did, you know what? I would say let's have a discussion about it. I'm not going to be one of those people that says, you know what? You don't agree with me, you're a jerk. I don't want to.
Absolutely. If I see you broke down alongside the road, I'm not going to hop out and ask you who you're aligned with. I'm going to hop out and I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And that's my heart, and that's where I come from, is that we are all human. We are all here trying to achieve the same things and enjoy our time on Earth. And I think it's just, and it's not any one person's fault. It's been happening for years.
Oh, sure.
It's become more progressive. But I think we've we've allowed ourselves to become more ingrained in that, or in our minds, that fight, or what they've pushed us to.
Yeah.
All I want is common sense.
I mean, it really gets crazy. I mean, we'll wrap it up with this. Is even recently, I won't mention who it was, but I reached out to this guy that I've interviewed like 2 or 3 times before, like I'm doing with you today, Russ, and always done a great job of helping him promote his band. And then I said, hey, it's been a while since I talked to you. How would you like to do a new interview? And he said, like, you know what? He goes, I don't think so. He goes, I've seen some of your political views. I don't agree with them. So I think we'll just move on. I said, okay, well, that's your choice. So you're missing out on some pre-promotion for your band, but that's all right. There's plenty of other bands to interview. I don't need you, but hey, but that's the thing. I'm willing to talk to this guy if he isn't, but he's letting his political views, kind of cloud his judgment. And I say that only because everybody's got a right to their political view. But like you said, I don't really care. Let's have a conversation about whatever you want to talk about,
And that's the problem is conversation is dying. Open-mindedness is dying, and the only way we can understand is through the conversation. And a lot of times you just get, it turns to such vile name calling.
Oh yeah, I mean,
quickly, and it's just unreal. And I learned to disengage from all that.
Oh sure.
It took a while.
Yeah.
Sell the Silence, which we released in October 2020, was written directly about that. Disengaging from the clutter.
Yeah, you're right. You're so right.
It's just, there's so much of it, and it became hard for me to scroll past all of it because I wasn't trying to support anybody. I was just trying to get people to calm down and understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
I mean,
and I have family.
Yeah.
Just became the most verbal people I'd never seen in my life, and I'm like, what's going on with you? You see their Facebook posts, and I've had to block family for different things.
That's crazy.
A huge family, by the way, but it's nonsense. You're enjoy your life.
I guess the thing with that is you find out who your true friends are, because I think anybody to let politics or whatever get in the way, or some stupid joke, you stop being friends with somebody because they told a joke that you didn't think was funny. Just that's crazy to me, but more power to you.
Yeah, I mean, by all means, there's a lot of stuff out there in the comedic world said in bad taste, but there always has been. It's nothing new, and we just learn to shrug it off and let people do themselves, and I'll do myself. But I'm going to get along with everybody. I have friends from all different walks of life, and it's not because of current times or current issues. It's
just
because
who you are.
I'm just at heart. I feel like I'm a good person, and I think that's where we
just talking to you today, Russ. I kind of share that feeling about you. I mean, I've never met you face to face, but you seem like a nice guy. You seem like a guy. I mean, I sat here for almost 45 minutes having a conversation with you, and that's the whole point of doing this. Is you talk a little bit about the music, who you are. Like I talked a little bit about how long's the band been together, man, because I want people to know a little bit about the band, who this guy is we're talking to, and I think 45 minutes we've done this. I think we've accomplished that, and I'd just like to say thanks for taking time to talk to me. I really enjoyed doing it, and next time you have a new single or something, let's do it again, okay?
Absolutely. Like I said, we'll be hitting you up because we'll have another one dropping here in a month or two, and it's going to be a good one to talk about as well. So.
Okay. Well, thanks, Russ. And the interview we just did, I'm going to be posting in the next week or two. Once I have a concrete date, I will let Tracy and Tom know, and you guys are welcome to post on any of your sites just to kind of share it. But great talking to you, and we will be in touch.
All right, I appreciate you, man.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Chaotic Riff Magazine.